Welcome to MSP Unplugged's Resource Thursday with ThreatAdvice. I'm your host, Rick Smith. This is the place to learn tips, tricks, and strategies to help you run your IT service business, whether you're a one-person shop or leading a team for the journey. This is the place for you. My co-host, Paco Lebron, he's out today. Paco, he's always got something going on, so he's a little busy. But I would like to introduce our guest today, and that would be Matt Koenig. He's the Vice President of Channel Development at ThreatAdvice. Sorry about that, Matt. How you doing today?
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Before we get started today and talk about what's going over, Matthew, and what's going over at ThreatAdvice, just want to give a quick shout out to our upcoming event here, TechCon Unplugged. As you know, we've been working hard at this, and it's hard to believe all the planning and work we've put into this and meetings, and we are 2 months away now. It seemed like so far away just a short time ago. But TechCon Unplugged is going to be September 16th to the 18th at the Hilton Rosemont Chicago O'Hare. There you will learn from like-minded business owners in panels and breakout sessions, gain key takeaways from partners and vendors in the space. And my favorite part of it all, you get to experience those one-on-one and spontaneous group conversations where, as Paco likes to say, and I've picked it up myself, the magic happens. Tickets can be purchased at techconunplugged.com. Please check the website as well for updates. Vendor updates have been placed. We have finalized just about all of the breakout sessions that was a very popular that we brought back, all of the speakers who will be there. So all that is updated on the website. And actually, Matthew will be there as one of the sponsors as ThreatAdvice's sponsor there. So we look forward to seeing him, and we say thank you for supporting us. But again, tickets are $2.99. They can be purchased at TechCon Unplugged, and we hope to see you there soon. All right. And we got the public service announcement out the way here. Matthew, again, welcome to the show. Just before we get started on ThreatAdvice and what you guys offer to the community, can you just give us a little background on yourself and how you came to ThreatAdvice?
Sure. I started in the tech industry, scary to say, probably about 25 years ago. And I started like everybody else on hardware, software, things like that. Started to move into services because I figured that's where the money was. And I also realized that's where you could really help people. Selling a box just didn't do anything. So as time went on, I worked for different companies in sales management, marketing management. And my real journey into the channel started when I started with Rapid Fire Tools. And I was their worldwide sales director. I was there about 5 years and was there not when the company started, but when things started into the channel. I was given 3 telemarketers. By the time I left and Kaseya bought them, we had about, I had 26 direct reports, somewhere around there, and then moved around a little bit. ThreatAdvice called me up one day after I left a current gig. I was consulting with some MSPs and said, hey, we want to go to the channel. We got a great product. It's security-based, which they knew was near and dear to my heart, and said, we want to go to the channel. We're going to give you the opportunity to take us to the channel. Will you go? So I said, sure, let's do this thing. Let's have some fun. So my job is right now taking a product that's been around 5 years, and I like to call it channelizing it, making it useful, and a piece of software that people can't do without, especially the MSPs. But my background really is helping MSPs. I love to help MSPs grow. So whether I'm at ThreatAdvice or anywhere else, I love helping with sales and marketing and just questions, because as you know, it's a big industry, but a small community.
Right, exactly. Well, thanks for that. Now tell us a little bit about ThreatAdvice and what you guys do, and what is yours, what makes you special, I guess they'll call it.
Well, what makes them special is me, of course.
Of course.
ThreatAdvice has been around, the software's been around about 6 years or so now. And they were an MSSP, and they were selling direct to banks and government. So what was created was a breach prevention platform. And it was based on 4 pillars, if you will: assess, manage, teach, and protect. And those 4 pillars were put together because, in our belief, Those are the core components of what a good security stack should look like. So at a very high level, the assess is a continuous vulnerability scanner, both internal and external. It's platform agnostic. If it's got an IP address, it's going to scan it. Next piece is manage, making a single pane of glass with all your EDR, EDM, and SIEM tools in one spot, having a dashboard. Policies and procedures, having the ability to not only add your own, but we have templates, and you can sign digitally and store them. Security awareness training, have a little over 400 videos, all are under 5 minutes purposely, all are animated, all have quizzes, and the quizzes follow the videos. So nobody can say, you tried to trick me. No, you watch the video, you're going to get 100. Phishing simulations. With the phishing simulations, they're dual level, right? Did you click on it? Did you try to fill in the information? And one thing that I'll call out on the phishing simulations is rather than adding 700 ourselves, what we do is we ask our customers which ones they want to see. We always keep up with the core ones, right? Amazon, ADP for payment, things going on, with healthcare and stuff. But rather than continuing to develop them, we ask our clients, hey, what ones do you want to see? Give me 2 or 3 that you want, and we'll create them for them. Because the reality is, if one of them wants it, good chance all of them want it.
Right.
And the final piece is our breach protection warranty. We've partnered with a company by the name of Cysurance, who's a reinsurer for multi-billion-dollar companies. And what the warranty does is if you meet, there are about 8 requirements that you have to meet for your customer, like multi-factor, vulnerability scanning, that kind of stuff. If you meet those and your customer's on the program, if they ever get breached, you're paid up to $500,000 to get them back technologically where they were before the breach. So it doesn't replace cyber liability insurance, because that's reputational damage, that's paying fines and everything. This is specifically to get them back within compliance again, technologically. And it pays the MSP. So it's nice because when you have a customer maybe that doesn't have insurance, you're going to get paid. And if they do, this might help limit their claim a little bit. So it's a win-win for everybody all the way around.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You guys now normally, I guess we look at these type of companies, and we're thinking about, cybersecurity itself is a big deal now, right? It's something we always talked about, but it has become basically the key word now for everything. And I had a customer just 2 days ago ask me to explain to him what exactly is cybersecurity. And when I thought about it and tried to explain, I said, wow, it is not just security. It is not just, the old style, just putting antivirus on your computer. It just goes, it's so much larger than that. And I think as MSPs, we recognize that when we put together a cybersecurity package, or we do a cybersecurity thought, we know what it is, but I don't think we get the breadth of exactly all of it that it encompasses.
Oh yeah.
And it's just amazing. And I like the idea with something like a breach prevention platform. It does 2 things for us, right? Like with if you're looking that route, I don't know how many of your customers go the route of the using the cybersecurity, the insurance portion of it. But what it does do is give us a checklist, basically, of, it sounds like, of what we should be doing to help, secure a client. So I just think that's that's a good way to look at it that way.
Yeah, one of the things it was designed for is for vCISO services. So when they were an MSSP, what they were doing is they were saying, look, we're going to put this platform in, and we're going to assign a vCISO to you. And we're going to review this information with you on a quarterly basis. But that information for the vCISO allowed them to act on things that were going on, and then be able to explain what they acted on, why they acted on it, and how they acted on it. So same concept. What we want to see, and what the thought is that all these MSPs that are saying, look, I know I need to be more proactive with my customers. I know I need to be able to show them I'm doing things to protect them, because we both know the best MSP is one they don't know is there, right? Exactly. And it's a double-edged sword, because all of a sudden, well, why do I need you?
Why do I need you?
So this is designed to actually give them the ability to show them what they're doing and to have that constant flow of information, both technologically and human, so they can show the customer their cybersecurity posture and they can show them ongoing what they're doing to keep them safe on an ongoing basis. And to your point, although we don't do it, you're right, cybersecurity has become crazy. I mean, it becomes the physical as well now. You know, whether that be cameras or that be telling people, look, someone comes and asks you to use your badge to let them in the door. No.
Right.
I don't care what you think. No, do not do it.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy how it has expanded. I actually had a customer who, and I told you this morning, I had a client with an emergency. It's the same. I happen to be the same client, but he does a lot of work for banks. They asked for, as part of his cybersecurity assessment, this is their personal assessment. They asked for images of video of people entering his server room. Like they wanted to see a camera image that shows directly onto the server room. And I thought that was very interesting. But
oh yeah, I mean, and compliance is now huge, where it wasn't that big of a deal before. You had HIPAA, you had PC. Almost any company you can think of has some kind of compliance standard that they need to meet. And these compliance standards are growing as to what they require, right? Because of everything going on in the world. Same thing in getting actual cyber liability insurance. They're now demanding, if your customer wants insurance, that these, 15 things must be done, must be reported on quarterly. They must be able to see that not only are they doing it, but they're keeping it up, or they're not going to write the policy anymore. So a lot of this stuff, where before it was us trying to convince them that they needed it and them going, maybe not, I haven't seen anything. Now what they're finding out is it's not just us talking about it. It's partners, it's other vendors they deal with, it's compliance entities that they have to report to. Everybody now wants to see things, so they're not being left a choice anymore to make that decision, which is great for us. I mean, honestly, but at the same time, you know, it's getting crazy out there.
Yeah, and it's just it's like you said, it is a double-edged sword. But I would be one to say I'm very glad that this is happening and we're going down this avenue. And it is not only for selfish business reasons, but it is also for the I don't know if justification is the right word, but we've been pushing for years to our clients about protecting themselves, about the importance of it. And they only been getting it basically from us, right? From the MSP. We get it from you guys, the vendors, telling us, hey, these are things that are coming down the pipeline of things you need to be doing. We're pushing this to our clients, and we know it's the right thing. But the challenge has been they don't have another source pushing it, so they know it's not really ringing in their ears. Kind of like sales, where they're not getting enough touches on the same subject, so it doesn't necessarily matter. So now they're getting, it's like you said, they're getting it from the people they do business with. They're getting it from the insurance companies. They get, wherever it may be. It's over the news that the client that asked me the question the other day about what exactly is cybersecurity. Now he's an eye doctor, but he got it because he was at a meeting, at one of his trade meetings, and they were talking about it. And he was like, and so he asked me, do we have cybersecurity? I said, of course we do. So, but again, it's like they don't get it sometimes, or they don't recognize it.
Yeah, no. And I mean, the fact that people won't spend money on it drives me bananas for you guys. Because, one of the things that I teach, and one of the things you guys will hear in my talk when I'm out there, is about asking leading questions, right? Because one of the things that we have done a bad job as MSPs for a long time with is trying to use fear, uncertainty, and doubt on these people. And what I found is, emotionally and psychologically, as soon as you scare me, you've paralyzed me. I'm not going to go the way you want anymore. Right. I'm not going to go backwards either. I'm going to stop and go, oh my God. And that's it. So it doesn't work a lot of the times, especially people that don't understand cybersecurity, where if you put them in the right mindset, is what I like to call it, by asking leading questions, such as, hey, have you ever thought of what it would be like if you were down for 3 days? Can you tell me a little bit about what that would look like to you? Now you're putting them in the headspace to think about themselves, not about Russia, not about China, not about the Ukraine. Because although those are all really important and they could affect them, Now let's talk about the consequences in your business rather than scaring you, and talk about what could happen if you were down. What would that look like to your employees? What would it look like to your customers? What would look like financially to your organization if you had to get yourself back up and running again? And by putting them in their mindset, you're not putting them on the defensive. You're having a conversation. And I find that works way more effectively with people that you're trying to convince to go down that route or to do certain things than it does to just try to scare them or whatever the case may be.
Right, exactly.
And one of the other things, and I don't know if you've fallen into this or not, or you've seen this or not. One of the things I always tell MSPs that come to me is, look, create your security stack to the best of your ability based on what you know your customers need. Okay? Not what you think they want, what you know as the expert they need. Then guess what? That's the security stack they get. Period.
Right.
End of story. You're charging for it. You're giving it to them. Because here's the thing. If you sell cybersecurity, and I see a lot of people doing this as an add-on, or here's my base level, but to get to the stuff that's really important, it's an add-on. Well, I don't know about you, but like when I go into Best Buy and I go to buy a really nice TV or something, and they start talking about all the add-ons I can get,
Right.
Well, guess what? Add-on means I didn't need it. It's not primary. It's not necessary. It's an add-on.
Right.
So what I've always said is, look, you go in as the expert, you tell them what they're getting in a nice way. I don't mean that literally, shoving it up, but tell them this is a security package. Here's why, and here's what you're getting. Because if you believe it and it's included, they're going to believe it.
Exactly.
It's important.
Exactly. And it's important to set that baseline and not bend from it. So know exactly where, and this is, this is something as we've grown, we've learned, our security platform is that is our minimum. There are some extra add-ons,
Sure, everybody doesn't need a scene tool. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. You don't need, and we tell every client the same, because they always want to know, well, how much does it cost? And I say, well, we have to figure out what you need first and where we are, right? There are certain things that is a must that you have to have. That's a minimum, but there are other things you may need or you may not. And I think that's a great way you put it there. Is, the add-ons, are sometimes it's kind of like, I guess when you go buy your car and I haven't bought a car, so I don't even know.
Wheel damage protection.
Right, exactly. Yeah, those
the guy washed your car and scratched it protection. I mean,
hey, does this thing drive and is it going to keep me safe? And that's what I'm concerned about. And and that's the approach that we try to take with customers is getting them to understand. And it again, it becomes a struggle. But I tell you, sometimes the news, I don't want to profit off of anyone else's misery, but it is, when you see in the news or the articles that come out, I forward them to customers all the time to let them see, hey, this is what is out there. And these are real threats to you, because a lot of times that we have that attitude, say, hey, it won't happen to me. So, I don't need it. It's like, but you buy, and then I had this conversation, and I'm still not sure it was a great analogy, but I said, you buy car insurance, right? It is required. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You buy car insurance. You don't expect to, or you buy homeowner insurance. You don't expect to have a break-in, and you don't expect to have a fire,
right.
But you protect yourself, right? It is a minimum standard for you. If something goes wrong, I need to get in there and be able to fix it. And it's the same concept. And we use the other analogy you use. I didn't say it the way you said it. And I think I may have to steal it your way, but I'll say to a client, hey, if something happened and you were down, how long could you be down before it starts to affect your business?
Right.
If you couldn't access any machines or get any work, and you got customers at here in the location, or you got patients, whatever the case may be, how long could you go without being able to access any machines? And it's a real true thought for them, because they don't think about it. Right. Because
it's amazing in sales, and it's not a sales trick, but it's amazing in sales. It's all about psychology, right? It's all about to get them to think in a way where they're getting your point. Now, you're not manipulating them, and nor would I ever suggest that, right? But what you are doing is putting them in the proper headspace to have that conversation and make sure that they're thinking of it in the way you're thinking of it, rather than it becoming, something that's kind of an argument with your customer back and forth. And by the way, to your bundle, you are spot on. Never, ever, ever, ever unbundle your stuff, because customers will start picking it apart,
Exactly.
even though they don't know. Here's your price. Here's what you get. Now, you want to have multi-layer packages for a reason? Great. But do not ever unbundle your pricing.
I don't even put what it is. I just, we put the price there, and then it, this is this security stack. This,
Right.
We don't say stack. We say security application. We say, but we don't put, basically, it's not a la carte. Yeah. So, it's just not a la carte. And if we're not going to change things to save a few bucks, because this is what's necessary. I just put up on the screen here.
They shouldn't care the vendors you're using. And the reason why is, I sold software back in the day, and it used to be business process software. And one of the things I always asked was, customers would get upset because it ran on an AS400. I know I'm dating myself horribly, but they'd get upset because it ran on AS400. And my response was, we went through this. Does this software solve your problem? Yes or no? Yes. Does it allow you to automate processes that were a pain to you? Yes or no? Yes. Then why do you care if it runs on a Volvo in the parking lot, if I'm maintaining it, making sure you stay up, and the software is doing what it should? Nobody cares, I guess what I'll say as an SMB, about ThreatAdvice. Nobody's going to care. So to your point, put together the best stack you can that makes the most sense, and go. And you're right. Never line item it out or anything. This is what we do to keep you safe, period.
Exactly. So back to ThreatAdvice. Now, you and I, we're talking more about us, and I do want to get our customers to know, our listeners to know more about ThreatAdvice and what's going on. Now, do you guys have a partner program? Can you explain a little bit about that and how it helps MSPs?
Sure. So we're MSP only, and that's it at this point. We've moved away from being an MSSP, though it was a great development place, if you will, for this over the years. And again, one of the benefits is it brings the human and the technological into one spot. So you can truly get a view of your client's cybersecurity posture versus having to go to 38 different tools to try to figure that out. Second thing it does is the continuous vulnerability scanning is different than any of the other ones out there. It competes with Qualys, Nessus, the rest of them. But by doing it continuously, you're never having to worry about, okay, this is when the set time is, or I'm going to set it off here. It's constantly running in the background. It's constantly looking for things. If you tried to do a vulnerability scan on my device, you're going to miss me 9 months out of 10, especially if you're doing it once a month. 9 months out of 12, because I'm on the road. With this, as soon as I log into the internet, it's going to grab my information, it's going to scan my device, and it's going to bring it back to you. So continuous is much better than trying to set things off. Plus, with it being platform agnostic, Apple, Linux, Windows, somebody puts a thermostat on the wall that's an IoT device, you're truly going to get any point of entry scanned that somebody could possibly pick up an IP and get into their system. Okay. One of the next pieces is the insurance policy. It goes back to the assess, manage, teach, and protect. Protect is important. You could do everything right, and they could still get breached. That's just the reality of the world we live in. Why would you not want to make sure you protect yourself against that? So really, again, it's designed to allow you to provide vCISO services to your clients, because every one of these sections can be presented in a dashboard. So let's say the CEO, you can give them a management login, and they can see these dashboards and see, what are you doing? What's going on? Are you solving all the problems? Et cetera, so they can be I don't want to say involved because that's not always a good thing, but you can be transparent with your customer as to what's going on. Look, you have 82 vulnerabilities that are constantly popping up. I need to implement this. Please let me do so. And now you're talking from a state of fact, not a state of thought process or conjecture for them. You've got all this information. And one of the easiest ways to show them you're doing something, and I hate to go back to this, security awareness training. If people are taking it and they're passing their quizzes, right, then you're doing something. They're getting better at knowing what not to do. One of the final pieces I really like of our platform is our reward section. Everybody talks about gamifying training. And it's badges, it's a poster, it's what, okay, you can still get badges with ours. That's nice, go for it. But what we have is we have a reward center. So what you can do is you can sit down as an MSP with your customer. And in the reward center, you can pick what the rewards are. So basically, if I take my training and I pass, I get a number of coins. If I report a phish using the Outlook plugin, I get a set of coins. Those coins add up to me being able to redeem for whatever it is you put in the reward center. And it's really easy. Literally, what is it? How many coins? Do you want to put a picture there and a description and done? When they click on that redemption for that many coins, when one of their employees get there, they get an email once a week, tells them so-and-so redeemed for this, and they can fulfill it. But what's nice is company wants to really take it seriously and say, look, for this much, I'll give you a day off. They want to say, I'll give you an Amazon gift card. They want to say, I'll give you an extra volunteer. Whatever it is, you can set that up for them, and they can get real rewards for their employees actually taking and passing those tests.
That's a unique idea.
Yeah.
But that's
when you and I were coming up, it was take your darn training and do it. And you went,
exactly.
Yes.
You have to
Nowadays,
do it. If you don't do it in 10 days, you're fired.
Yeah. What do I get out of it? Well, fine. You can earn a gift card, a day off, or whatever. We're going to incent you, but take your darn training. So again, overall, it brings the human and technology together. It allows you to provide dashboards and transparency to your customer. And it provides you the ability and tools to do that vCISO piece because you're constantly assessing, you're constantly managing, you're constantly teaching, and you're protecting. And again, those components, although in the manage, we don't make any of that. There's no reason to compete with ThreatLocker and WebRoot and Huntress and all the rest of them. We just bring those dashboards in to a single pane of glass. But the idea is to give you a security stack in one place that makes sense.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, do you guys for MSPs in your partner program, do you offer or do you have I guess the question is always the question, are there minimums? Is there a time commitment, things along that?
We request a year agreement, but we do not require it. We also have a month-to-month agreement, but that is a little more expensive. What I always suggest to my partners, because I've been doing this a long time, a lot of people know me, sign up for the year. It's good for us. It's good for you, right? Because you're locking in. However, if you're really ever that miserable with us and we can't fix the problem, do you really think I'm not going to let you out? Because I want bad customers yelling about us to every other MSP. That makes perfect business sense. The minimums are one. You put one customer on there with one seat, you're ready to rock and roll. So the way it works is, let's say you sign up for your agreement, your cost is $49 a month until you put the first client on there. As soon as you put the first client on there, that fee goes away completely. You can put one client with one seat. You can put 5,000 seats. It doesn't matter. Your cost, because everybody always wants to know that, so I'll share it. It's not a secret. Your cost at the highest level on a one-year agreement is $3.25 per month per seat. That is your highest cost. As you add seats across your customer base, not a single customer, your whole customer base, the price goes down. And if I remember correctly, the lowest price is about $1.65 per user per month. Some people go, well, isn't that a little high? Think about it. You're getting a vulnerability scanner that is better than Qualys, Nessus, and all the rest of them on the market. you're getting the security awareness training, you're getting the phishing, you're getting the policies and procedures, you're getting the single pane of glass management dashboard. I don't think if you bought separate tools, you could touch that price.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense. Now, let me ask you we talked a lot about the security portion, and you've touched on it a couple of times, but the security training, this is basically is one of our minimums as well. Now, it's in our base package. Everyone has to get it. Is that I guess there are two ways to do security training, and I'm just talking about the way it's presented. There's either in the human form or there's the cartoon form.
Yep.
How do you guys do it?
We do it animated, but not cartoon, if that makes sense. So
maybe
it's animated and it's colorful to try to keep attention, but it's not a cartoon like you watch Bugs Bunny or anything like that. But it's also not someone standing there with an English voice going, today we're going to talk about here, or someone just writing with a hand, so it looks like a PowerPoint, but someone's just writing with a hand or whatever the case may be. It's animated. And here's the key point. All of ours are under 5 minutes, and that is purposeful. No. We will never have one over 5 minutes because guess what? Nobody's attention span is longer than that with this kind of stuff. The quizzes are 5 questions. Again, did you actually learn the information you were supposed to learn? You don't need a 10 question, 15 question, 30 question quiz to figure out if they got the high points on each one of these. And so the other thing that we suggest, and I'll go out on a limb here and tell you based on the psychology I've studied, because unfortunately I've studied a ton of it with this stuff because, well, it's my job. You do not want to do more than 2 trainings a month and 2 phishing simulations. Now, I know people will argue with me all day long, but hang with me here. Psychologically, we need 10 days to absorb what we learned. And if you're doing a training every week, someone is never actually absorbing that information. They're just going on to the next thing, taking their quizzes, passing, and you're meeting compliance standards. So it depends on what you're after goal-wise. Are you after them truly retaining the information, or are you after making sure that they meet compliance standards? The other thing is the reason for 2 fishes. If you fish someone too much, they're going to start to get upset, and they're going to start, if they think it's a fish, just deleting it rather than reporting it.
Right.
And you don't want that, right? You want them to report it if they think it is a fish, and you want to make sure you're actually testing them. And if it's constantly coming at them, they start to get upset. I've seen this before. The end user starts getting really upset because they're like, why are you coming at me? I can't focus on my work because I'm constantly worried about whether this is a fish or not. So my recommendation, not the company's, this is my recommendation from years of doing this, 2 trainings, 2 fishes per month, and keep going. Now, you can do remediation if you want. That's up to you. Some companies love it, some don't. But if you do more than that, you're probably going to run into a place where it's not as effective as it could be.
And that makes sense. Now, let me ask this. When you're setting up your security awareness training, do you have it sounds to me like, because I know some programs will do one a week, basically. You're recommending 2 a month, right? So instead of 4, but do you have the option to make those changes? Is there a way that you can set those in the dashboard as to how many you want and where they hit?
You can set it once a day, once a week, once a month, twice a month, however you want to set it up. And here's something unique I know because I've worked for several people in the space. Also, you can custom create every training. It can be by semester. It could be by week. It could be by quarter, however you want to set it up. But here's the cool thing. Let's say you go in and make a training and you go, you know what? This would be useful the way I've set this up for all of my customers. You do not have to create it for each individual customer. You can literally cut and paste what you've created to every single customer. Then if you want to go in and say, okay, I'm going to swap these 2 out for this particular customer, you can do so. But this way, I know a lot of other software on the market, you have to set it up for this customer, and then this customer, and then this customer. Same thing with our phishing. You can set up phishing campaigns and cut and paste, or you can do it individually, however it makes sense for you.
Okay, that makes sense. It's just, and I'll just be 100% honest, and I'm sure I'm not the only MSP in this boat. We all need security awareness training, but it has been hard to lock down one that actually works for everyone. And I've had it's just boring, and you're gonna get, I'd say for every 10 people that tell you that, two of them just don't want to do it anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. I can have, their favorite actor do it, and they probably would say the same thing, right? It's just boring. It doesn't make sense or whatever. But the other ones, we do take that feedback, important in this. Like, if they don't complete it for whatever reason, we need to know that. And so for us, it's been a problem because now we've tried, we're on our third different company now trying this. And it gets a little frustrating. This is why I just asked the questions I ask about, as an MSP myself, knowing the challenges that I face.
Oh, yeah.
But and some of them we've had the flexibility to change in the frequency. Some of them we haven't. Some of them we had the flexibility of changing what goes out. Some of them we haven't. So it just depends. So
one of the things I'll also tell you is that's really cool with this is there are plenty of reports, and one of those reports will tell you how many trainings did they complete based on what they're supposed to? What is their percentage of completion? How many phishing tests have they failed? Have they signed their policies and procedures? And if so, how many have they signed? And it gives them an actual risk score. So you can literally pull up all your high risk employees and see exactly why they're a high risk employee. You can also export that to a CSV for compliance purposes. So you can go ahead and present that where you need to present it. But here's another cool thing. It's going to remind them constantly, and they can't do anything about it. If they don't take the training, they're getting an email. I think it's once a week. They don't take or sign the policies and procedures. They're getting an email once a week, constantly, letting them know you have policy, you have training, you have policy, and there's nothing they can do to stop that unless they actually take it. So they're going to have to deal with that as well. And that's the other reason we put the rewards program. Maybe those two that hate it will be motivated by an Amazon gift card, though.
You're right.
You know what? Okay, fine. I'll take the training for $150 Amazon gift card. I'll take one for the team for that.
I gotta pay you to learn.
Exactly, which is sad, but you know what? Unfortunately, it works. And if that's critically important, then sometimes we have to give a little to get a little. And again, I'm not suggesting by any stretch that a company should have to pay their employees in order to do that. But I find a lot of companies won't demand it or make it mandatory, make it part of the review process, make it part of the bonus process. There are lots of different ways to do it. We found this is simple. Let's try to reward them for doing it first before we go down any other road. Last thing I'll say about this is we're certainly not the best on the market. I will never say that as long as I live. We are doing the best we can based on feedback we get, though, from our advisory council to make changes that MSPs are requesting from us. So there's a difference in the fact that I will not look at you and say, we are better than this one or this one or this one. Because you know what? That's all an opinion. And that's an opinion by me and an opinion by the MSPs using it. What I will tell you is we're doing the best we can, though, to take feedback and make changes and upgrade actually the entire platform on a regular basis. Because at the end of the day, you know this, I know this. I don't think a lot of people say it out loud, though. It doesn't matter what I want the platform to be. It matters what you want the platform to be. Because if you're using it, then what do you want? What I want doesn't necessarily match what you want. And what good is that then? Now I'm asking you to spend money on something that's not even that great for you.
Exactly. Well, it looks like we're coming down on we passed our half-hour mark. So we've had a great conversation here. But we'll try to keep for our listeners a certain amount of time. But I think we can go on another 40 minutes with this.
Yeah.
But before we do wrap up, is there anything that you think we haven't talked about or haven't discussed about ThreatAdvice that you think our audience should know?
I mean, not necessarily. Just know I've been doing this a long time. I actually care about the MSPs. I'm the one that will walk you over to my competitor if it's a better solution for you. Because as I said, it's a big industry, small community. So I guess one of the things I want MSPs out there to know, and I've helped several of them, if you have questions, even if it's not about ThreatAdvice, if I can use my knowledge of sales and marketing to give you any advice, I'm here for you. I want us to all grow together. And as we all grow together, if my product is the best solution for you, that is fantastic. But if it isn't, I want to pass along any knowledge I can to help you grow. Because again, I hate to say it like this, and it's not why I do it, but you know what? It will come back to me and it will help us grow eventually. And I'm okay with that.
And that leads to the final question. If anyone wants to get in touch with you or to check out ThreatAdvice, how would they do that?
Sure. So you can email me at mkoenig, Koenig, @threatadvice.com. And for more information, you can go to threatadvice.com/partners with an S.
Okay, sounds good. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And again, I'd like to give a shameless plug, but Matthew and ThreatAdvice will be at TechCon Unplugged in September. So you can definitely meet him in person. I think this is our first time meeting, but I look forward to seeing you again. This is a very lively discussion, and I look forward to carrying it on in the future. So anyone interested as well, come check out ThreatAdvice and Matthew at TechCon Unplugged. But again, Matthew, I do want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you for bringing ThreatAdvice and the good conversation to our audience. I'm sure we'll get plenty of good feedback from it.
And if anybody's got questions, they can email me and I'm happy to talk to them again. And I'm not pushy. So if you have questions and you're not ready to do anything, that's okay also.
Well, that's good. It's good to know you can have someone to talk to and ask some questions, and then that may or may not be just pushing you for a sale. So it just lead good conversation sometimes just leads you to trust people. I say all the time, with vendors, it's like you say, it's not about what you want necessarily, it's about what we want. But I do appreciate when I can go to a vendor, particularly if I have a problem, and they can help me solve that problem. They get more loyalty from me than, even if we will carry some headaches with us if we feel like we have a dedicated partner doing business with us. It's the same way our clients do with us. So again, Matthew, thank you so much for your time today. For everyone else, I want to just encourage you to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. You can watch the video podcast at youtube.com/MSP Unplugged or facebook.com/MSP Unplugged. We do have a LinkedIn. I will tell you this, rather than give you the LinkedIn/company/whatever, just go to LinkedIn, put in #MSP Unplugged, and you can get the video of this there as well. We need you to like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can be notified whenever a new episode is available. You can also take us on the go, which is how I listen to most of my podcasts. We're on your favorite podcatcher apps. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Again, we want to thank Matthew and ThreatAdvice, and I want to thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on MSP Unplugged.
Take care, everybody.